This tale is focused around a young girl being twisted by the lies of her former friend. She has short purple hair, purple eyes, and freckles that stretched across her face. Her name, Katie Matthews. At school, Katie wasn't always the most respected. In fact, she was the most hated. She was berated daily and made fun of for being a nerd or a weeb in certain aspects. She only had four other friends. One with long black hair, one that always wore a blue scarf, one with a scar on his face, and one that usually wore a red hoodie. These four friends were everything she had, especially the one with long hair. His name, Real Adams. These two were best friends among the whole group. Ironic, because they got bullied the most. People berated Rio, calling his mother a witch and his younger sister a mule. Rio ignored these comments and tried carrying on with his day anyways. But he always couldn't ignore these comments. Sometimes those words could hurt him deeply. Not even his own family could be there for him. The only person supporting him was Katie. Katie swore to have Rio's back on any occasion, so naturally Rio would make that same promise. However, he could never stick with it. This was apparent on the day he left town. Katie was walking back home after a long day at school. Of course, Rio couldn't show up, but Katie barely noticed because the day was rare. That day, she wasn't bullied. She was truly happy. Wow, today was great. Can't wait to get home. She was so pleased, she began to skip home. Eventually, she met an intersection, waiting for the light to turn red to stop incoming cars. But then she had a thought. You know, today's such a good day. Let's make the most of it. I could take the long way home. So that's what she does. She takes a left to another part of the sidewalk and skips down it. Down a part of her town she's never been before. At first, everything was okay. The street started off friendly looking. She even saw some of her friends on the way down the street. However, as she got down the street further, the more dark and grim the street got. This place looks so dirty. I should probably hurry home. She began to walk faster. Eventually, she noticed a house that seemed familiar to her. Although she had never been on that street, she's seen it before. Wait, this is Rio's house. The house was big. The house was the biggest one on the street, surprisingly, and it seemed the darkestly colored as well. But Katie didn't care. She wanted to say hi. But then, two men walking down the street started to shout at her. "Hey, girlie, never seen you around these parts before." Huh? The two got closer to her. "You know the house belongs to the witch, right? You do know that. P- People call Rio's mom a witch around here too? If I were you, I would back away before she kidnaps you. So come here, we'll take you home. I, I don't talk to strangers." "Oh, come on, this is a small town. There's no such thing as a stranger. We're all just friends who haven't met yet." "Well, if that's the case, I'm not looking forward to making friends." "Oh, please, talk for a bit." Caitlin turned around, trying to run away. "Hey, where are you going, bud?" The first man was close enough to grab Katie and pull her back. "Our friend here has to talk. That's very rude of you to try and run. Get off of me." Katie tried pulling away from his grasp, but he was too strong. Eventually, she came to terms with the situation and chose to fight instead of run. She kicked the first man between the legs and pulled away from his grasp. God, you little. Hey, get her! The second man tackled Katie to the ground. Let me go. I want to go home. We just wanted to talk, but I was uncalled for. The second man got up quickly and kicked Katie in the gut hard. She got the wind knocked out of her and began to roll on the ground. Ow, ow. Eventually, the two kicked her over and over while she was down. She tried fighting back by grabbing the second man's leg and biting it, but get off me. He then pulled out a knife from his back pocket and then slashed Katie's left eye. She bled out on the floor in pain, covering her eye in agony. The two men stopped kicking her. This isn't even worth our time. Look at her. Let's go. The two men began to walk away. Katie cried out for help. Someone! Anyone! Rio! 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 Even though she was right in front of Rio's house, no one came. Not even a nearby neighbor. And that's what did it. She took that moment to think. Rio was never there for her. He was always dealing with family or always working on homework. He could never make time for Katie on the same level that she did for him. This anger that Katie now carried with her numbed out the pain. She slowly rised from her pitiful state, still covering her eye. Rio, you pe- peasants, filthy peasants. She began to shake with anger. Her presence grew so much to the point where the two men walking away stopped and turned around. What is this? You feel it too? It's pressure. We need to run. The two turned around and tried to make a run for it, but then Kitty turned around and moved her arm slightly towards them. Die, commoners. When she did this, a nearby parked car suddenly revved up and ran the two over, running into a house in the process. From that distance, Katie could still see the blood pop out of their heads as they slowly screamed in agony as the tires rolled over them. That amount of pain, she wished it upon Rio. While gripping her bleeding eye, she started walking home. I'm going to kill him.